Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to this special edition of MTTB, My Trip to Buea on SCTV, Southern Cameroon's television. And we want to thank you all for being patient. By the way, we want to apologize again for the late start. We delayed a little bit, but it was just due to some little technical issues. But I guess we're okay now. And today is the blessed 24th day of the month of March, the year of 2018. And we have been into this My Trip to Buea project that was launched by His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako Ekome a couple of days ago on this same platform of the Southern Cameroon television. We are still on it now, and we have to take it to the end. And with me today in the studio, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't come alone. I am here with our able Secretary of Finance, of Economic and Finance for the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. I guess everybody knows his face. I guess everybody, people... The most popular face, the face that when people see, they see finance.
You see money, right?
Mr. Tabenyang Echu, welcome to Southern Cameroon television. How are you doing today, sir?
I am good, Dexter, and welcome to the televiewers.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be having, it's going to be a three-way conversation today because Mr. Tabenyang is with me here in the studio. And before I forget, he is one of the first people that attended an interview here on SCTV, and he is one of the first deportees from La Republic to Cameroon. I think for those who have been following up Southern Cameroon's television, since from last year we had him here in the studio for a one-to-one dialogue based on what happened to him when he was traveling back to Ambazonia to have a word with the family. So I am going to leave the floor on the microphone to Mr. Tabenyang to say one or two words before we dive into the program itself. The microphone is yours.
Thank you, Dexter. And again, I am very humble to be here at home with you again today. It's about a year today that I came into your studio to tell the world about the ordeal that I had when I visited Cameroon. Fast forward, I am here today representing the interim government as the Secretary of State in charge of the economy and finance. And I think my coming here today is to reinforce the message that the interim president, His Excellency Dr. Samuel Ekome Sako had brought here a couple of days ago concerning my trip to Buea. And I think I would also seize the moment to talk to our people, the state of our finances, the various structures that we have put in place to make sure that the finances of the people are well managed. And I think the other minor developments within the interim government. So once again, thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the program on air right now is My Trip to Buea. This is Southern Cameroon's television, and I have with me in the studio Mr. Tabenyang. And we are going to thank everybody who's watching right now. That we already know how we do it. You just have to click the share button and start inviting those who wanted to watch this program. They might have been trapped in one or two, busy or some other schedules out there. And we want to say that please just take 1 or 2 seconds of your time to invite. Keep sharing the link so that we get to invite as many people as possible to come and listen to the state of affairs. Again, I repeat, this is My Trip to Buea. Welcome back to the studio again. Welcome back to the studio. This is Dexter Brains on SCTV, and I am just going to shoot straight into the business of the day. Mr. Tabenyang, I want to say that it's an honor having you in the studio the second major time again, and I think you have just introduced the whole concept. I have my own personal questions, and I think after that we might be able to take a couple of questions from the audience, from people who actually want to, get their own points cleared out. So, to begin with, I just want to know from you. I always say that if I ask a question that's too strategic, you don't have to answer it. Yeah, if it's too strategic, you just have to keep it aside. I want to know, this because being on the media, a lot of people, they ask questions like, okay, we have been. So far my trip to Buea, we're on 45%, we're on 30%. Even those that are doing the regular levy to the IG. What is the state of finances when it comes to the interim government of the Federal Republic of Amazonia?
Again, Dexter, it's a privilege to have the chance to commune and have this conversation with our people. I think it's very important for us to get engaged, to make the people understand that it is our responsibility and it is incumbent upon us to make sure that we keep them updated as to what we within the interim government are doing with their hard-earned monies. So the state of the finances within the interim government, I would classify that presently as a little bit shaky, but steady. And I think I would like to separate between my trip to Buea and the operational funding that we've been getting from the regular monthly citizenship levy. So as far as that is concerned, it is just enough to run the operations of the interim government. So we think that to hasten our trip to Buea, there is a need for us to launch a unique and distinct fundraising tool that would be focused permanently into getting us to our destination quickly. So the state of the finances, I would say again, even though we are not where we are supposed to be before we launch my trip to Buea, based on the fact that there are a lot of operational expenditures that we did not anticipate were going to come in. For example, the expenditure concerning the lawsuit. I think when we were set up, there was no anticipation that we're gonna get hit by La Republique, and this in turn has been draining some resources from the government. But in a nutshell, I think as a community, we want to sincerely and heartily thank those who have been making their monthly sacrifices, because without these monthly sacrifices, we would not have been able to offer the little support to the refugees, the little support to those who have been injured, the little support to those in the jails, the little support to those whose families have been abducted, the little support to the spouses and the families of some of the leaders who are been abducted. So we are immensely very grateful that the determination of these individuals and the commitment of these individuals are making it possible for us to run as a government.
I see. And so far, if I may ask, do we have any financial statement officially, ready at hand at the moment? Again, I'm saying if it's something that can be said, that can be said right here. You can.
No, Dexter, I think that is a very legitimate question to ask. I think I had appeared on SCBC and had promised the people that this is going to be a regular staple within the interim government. Monthly financial statements, financial reports, to give people an understanding on what their monies have been spent on and what are our sources of revenues. So yes, as I indicated during the last interview, that those statements will be available. They are available, but we are only going to share those statements, given some of the sensitive information within the statements, with the country coordinators and our regional coordinators. They in turn would share this information with our grassroots. Some of the information will be redacted for security reasons, but the basic framework of the financial statement will be shared with the people, particularly the expenditures, for people to understand that every dollar that has come into the interim government has been spent for the purpose for which it was intended.
Okay. Thank you for that take point. You just made mention of the interim government actually spending the money for the purpose which it was intended. I mean, people go out there to hustle hard, to make that money, which they actually contributed to the IG. Do you mind telling us, one or two things? On how the IG has been kind of utilizing the funds so far.
For sure, I think the funding that has been coming into, particularly the citizenship level, based on the financial statements, I can quantify accurately what and where this money is being spent, and I would be very confident to tell the people that most of the money has gone through to the refugee assistance
in Nigeria.
Now, there is a lot of talk out there that the money is not getting down to the refugees in the various camps, and there is a lot of bottlenecks. Most of the bottlenecks have been dealt with, but people should understand that the reason that the refugees are having difficulties is because there is not enough money. It's not because the money is not getting into the camps. Because if you look at close to 52,000 or 60,000 refugees, if we are going to just provide 50 cents for their feeding, it means we are supposed to raise close to $26,000 a day.
Wow.
That is close to about 13 or 14 million francs CFA.
Wow.
A day. Wow. At 50 cents. That is just for the feeding. And then if you're going to calculate the provisions for some of the mosquito tents, or where they are sleeping, the clothing and all of that, is huge. But we are not at a point of offering that level of assistance to a mammoth crowd of people like that. We are continuously striving to get to that point. So the money that is coming in is not enough, because we are not yet at a point where we can raise close to $30,000 a day.
Right.
And
right.
If you look at what the UN is actually requesting now, they're requesting for close to $80 million. Now that would tell you what we need to do to even get close to providing 50 cents worth of feeding to these individuals on a regular basis. But I will tell you that we're doing what is necessary, and there is priority on the areas that need more attention than us just throwing the resources out there. So whatever has gone into the that department, or department HHS, to the refugees, we can account for. We can tell you exactly when and where that money was sent to. The second area that had taken a lot of a big chunk of the monies that came in is communication. Now, we should be mindful that the flagship TV station, NCBC, the government is the one actually funding the license on a monthly basis. That coupled with other media activities that have been done. There is currently a radio station that has been added to the arsenal to disseminate information to our people. If you move from communication, another chunk of the money has gone to the legal defense team when the leadership was abducted. So a lot of money has gone in there. We spent close to $40,000 already in that particular department. And then you move down to foreign affairs. You move down to the general consulting and the daily running of the IG. So that is how the money has been spent. So in that financial statement, you're actually going to see in each of these departments how that money has been spent, on what that money has been spent, where did we get that money, and when did it come in.
I see. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my trip to Buea, on the Southern Cameroon television, and I am in the studio with Mr. Tabenyang, who has brought a lot of information for us to share. And I have a concern again, sir. You know, they say finance is what makes, and it's what it makes or break. You know, it's either you take it or you leave it when it comes with money. So, you being the I want to call it the link, the bridge between the people and the interim government, in terms of finance, you know, what is it that you're doing, you know, to bring the people close to the government? Because I'm asking this question because there was a statement going around that the people of the Federal Republic of Amazonia, they are detached from the interim government. It means there is no close communication. So I don't know if you have a word to say on that. I mean, what is there anything you're doing on that domain?
Yes, I think we are very mindful of the need to be engaged
Mm-hmm.
with our grassroots.
Right.
But I want us to bear in mind that this is a government with government officials spread across the globe.
Mm-hmm.
So you're not going to get a situation where things are being done within a given time frame.
Mm-hmm.
And people are still offering their services to the interim government on a voluntary basis. And some of these individuals have their own personal obligations. That in turn delays the time that some of these things need to be done. I think it was a vision of His Excellency Sisiku Julius Ayok to bring the government close to the people, and he engaged with the people on a regular basis. But given what has transpired, the interim government needed to refocus, regroup, and refocus, and that took some time. It took some time for us to get back the train and then refocus into getting to engage with our people. So what we have done primarily is to get the people closer to the government. We do not want to continuously live in a virtual space. We have secured a virtual office location where community members can actually mail, or if they have letters or anything that they want to send to the interim government. There is a permanent number that has been provided. That number is 202-871-9330. If you want to call any of these departments for information, please call this number and you will be directed to each of these departments. This is particularly very important because this is bringing the IG close to the people. We have a direct channel that we can now talk directly to our government officials, from the presidency to the Restoration Council. If you call that number, 202-871-9330, and ask that you want to talk to the Minister of or to the Secretary of State in charge of Economy and Finance, they would direct you to me, and I will be able to answer your questions. So for those who have questions and they have all these concerns and they have all of these doubts, please use that number to reach the interim government. We are bringing the government to the people.
My tip to Buea is I want to call it a project. I want to call it what? Yeah, a project. It's a project that was launched by the AIP a couple of days ago, and it was officially launched here in the Southern Cameroon Television SCTV. But I know that out there are just so many people who are still doubting, what my trip to Buea is. Even though we've had like 3 sessions, one was on Wakamantori, that was in the pidgin language, and then we had 2 of them that was actually with His Excellency Dr. Sako, Dr. Sako, and I mean, how can you, in a very transparent and open way, define my trip to Buea to people out there who actually want to know what my trip to Buea is?
Yeah, Dexter, I think, thank you for that very important questions. I want to clarify that it is okay for people to be a little bit skeptical when something new is being introduced.
Yeah.
You got the early adopters and then the late bloomers. I want to thank those who have taken a leap of faith to believe that my trip to Buea is a genuine campaign to change the direction of this struggle. This is the game changer. And we are counting on that leap of faith that people have demonstrated so far. I'm going to tell you, thanks to the vision of His Excellency Dr. Samuel Sako and the team of very hard-working individuals, dedicated individuals behind this campaign, I will tell you, we spend hours putting these things together. Before you see the rollout of the website, the various options that we have put out there, there's a lot of work. So I want to extend my appreciation for the team that we have put together. But like Mr. President, Dr. Samuel Sako succinctly articulated when he was here at your studio, what is my trip to Buea and what is in there for you, our community members? Why is it different from all the other fundraising operations that we have rolled out?
Yeah, yeah.
It is very important to understand that this is different because uniquely we have challenged Southern Cameroonians that we need this amount of money to accelerate our trip or the restoration of the independence of Southern Cameroon. It is critical for us to understand that we will still need the monthly citizenship levies to run the operations of the IG. The My Trip to Buea funding is going to go directly to those aspects of the struggle that would hasten our trip down to Buea. So it completely changes the game. And we are not going to spend these monies without due diligence for those identified areas that we have seen that with the citizenship levies, there is no way we're going to get that done. So there is the huge importance that we understand that in as much as we have launched this My Trip to Buea campaign, we are still hopeful that the individuals who have committed to the citizenship levies to fund the government, the money that I have clearly outlined here, that goes to the legal defense fund, that goes to the refugees support, that goes to communication, that goes to the other department that I did not mention. We should understand a lot of it has gone to that.
Okay.
This is something that uniquely is placed for us to change the game. This would give us the, what would I say, moral booster, the economic jolt that will get off behind the computers and actually actively begin to engage governments, begin to go to parliaments to lobby. We need to be on the road on a regular basis from country to country the diplomacy that we're going to engage, the activities that they're going to engage on the ground, in ground zero, would speak for themselves. And people would see that this is not just another fundraising, it's not just another slogan, but this is intent of us changing the dynamics on the ground. We're looking at what is happening on the ground. The country or our regions are slowly descending into anarchy. If we do not, I am going to repeat, if we do not have the necessary funding to try to arrest this slide into anarchy, before we wake up someday, it will be practically impossible for you to get into these regions. So my trip to Buea is going to enable us to get the necessary resources that would force the hand of the international community to move into resolving this problem. So it is very, very important. If you are still sitting on the sideline, if you still feel like this struggle is foreign to you, newsflash, our people in the entire region are now living in an open prison. If you have been on social media this morning, you could have seen the press release from the governor of the northern zone.
The colonial governor?
The colonial governor.
Oh, okay. I was just thinking that maybe we have a governor, no, Amazonian governor, so I wanted to get that clear.
The colonial governor put out a press release today banning all movements tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. I mean, if we are sick and tired of being sick and tired of this humiliation and disrespect and complete restriction of the civil liberties of our people, of the freedom, and even for them to just be in their own homes without these restrictions, we need to fund my trip to Buea, because this is what is going to move us to a point where we would not tolerate them subjugating our people to this level of disrespect, to this level of humiliation, to this level of restrictions of their freedom of association and their freedoms of expression. So it is very important that our people, those of us who are well off, those of us who are doing well, this is a time for you to step in. Look at your own moral conscience. Even if you say you do not support other aspects of the struggle, it is very important that you remember that those who have been forced from their own houses into Nigeria, at no fault of their own, still need your support.
Disrespect, humiliation, killing of unarmed citizens has been the talk of the day in the land of Amazonia, in the blessed soil of the southern Cameroons. Ladies and gentlemen, this program is my trip to Buea on SCTV, and I'm in the studio again with Mr. Tabenyang, who has brought a lot of information for us to share and to give us a clear standpoint as per what as per where we are heading to with respect to my trip to Buea. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are just joining us, please just go ahead and click the share button, share and invite so many other people before we proceed into the next phase of this show. And I'm just gonna catch a little bit on something you said, sir. You spoke about the options in my trip to Buea, which is something that I've seen, but I don't want to hold it all to myself, because I know that there's so many people out there who might want to know the same. They might be having the same question in their mind, but they don't know who to, to get the clear-cut answers from. I checked on the website. I see option. There's a part that says Sisiku, Ayukta class. I see first class, economy class, and I don't know why all this stratification and breakdown into different segments. Do you have any idea on that, sir?
Oh yes, I think it did not just come from the blue. I think there was consultations,
okay,
with our people on how we requested to know which of the best options we were supposed to use to roll out this program.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a huge call for us to make it in such a way that it is affordable for everyone. But these options come with different benefits. So if you are on the Siseko class, there is a level of benefits that you're going to get from somebody who is at $100. Now, those options are just to motivate people. This is a point of motivation to show the level of commitment. Because again, to me, it doesn't really matter about the dollar amount or the dollar figure of these options. What is the price of freedom? What is the price that we are willing to pay? Not for our own freedom, which we are already benefiting from the good things that the people who build these countries have put in place. But what would it take for you to achieve the liberation of your people? To me, there is no cost. It is very important for our people to understand that the mere fact that people are asking for dialogue, the mere fact that people were asking to talk, just to talk, this is what is happening to them. They didn't ask for anything than just redressing the injustices that have been visited upon our people. And we could not be given the chance to talk.
Right.
What we got in return was the senseless brutality, the senseless incineration of our villages. How could you imagine that a 96-year-old grandmother, blind, could be burned alive in her own home, a home that she had known no other home for 96 years? How do you explain the rationality that they would ask 16 villages to be evacuated from their ancestral lands, from their own sacred worship places, for a moment's notice, and given 24 hours to leave? And those who did not leave were treated as terrorists. They were killed, senseless, abandoned. So it is very important that no matter the options that we have out there, people should understand that irrespective of the option that you're going to decide to support the struggle, just that commitment that you have demonstrated, that there is no dollar amount that I can put on the freedom of my people, is going to be huge. And what are you going to do to get other people who are still standing on the sidelines to do something? So those options basically was the popular call from our people. Before we roll that out, we have made some targeted feedback.
Okay, a quick question. If option A says Sisiko Ayukta base class section, option B says economic class and regular class. For example, you go for option A and I go for option B. Is there any difference? Do we have is there any degree of favoritism, or do we get something for going for a business class, for an economic class, or I mean, how does it go?
Yes, as I said, that these options or these levels of donations come in with a package. So those packages are being worked right now. I was going to announce that we're going to add, by popular demand, some high net worth individuals, that we should add a family combo of $25,000. So if you go on to the website, there's going to be an option for a family combo of $25,000. Now, these individuals within this $25,000 range will be recognized with medals of honor on the day we get to Buea. That will be where these high-end donors will be awarded medals of honor for the liberation of the Southern Cameroons. This is a simple class. That means you're going to ride in a cabin that will be designated By then, we are hopeful that the president will be out, so you'll be riding in the same cabin with His Excellency Seseku Julius Ayuk Tabe. The other cabins, they come in with some perks. Some of them you might have a free passport when the time comes when we start issuing passports. But again, be mindful that you have to meet all the other requirements for you to obtain an Amazonian passport. So these levels of or these options, they come in with some benefits.
Oh, okay. And so now, a layman out there, how can they, or not a layman, how can the people out there um help to promote my trip to Buea? Is it something that is restricted just to Amazonians or Southern Cameroonians, or do we have to discuss this only within the Southern Cameroon community or the Amazonian community, or we have to um, or we have the right to take it out of this sphere? I mean, how can we? I mean, what do you have to say on that point?
Absolutely no. What is it in there for you? What can you do to push forward this campaign? You have a world of information in your hands. In your phone, there are about 1,000 contacts. We need to reach as many people as possible. And how can we effectively do that? We can only do that with the help of you, our community members. So pick up your phone, text Buea to 41444 to all your contacts. That is how we're going to spread the word. This is personal networking. It is easy for you to convince the people in your network to support the struggle than a text coming from me, because majority of your contacts may not even know who I am.
Right.
So we think by using our own people, we can send out this message as quickly as possible. Now be mindful, when you text Buea to 41444, this is strictly for the people in the US and Canada.
Canada.
If you are out of the US, use the website www.mytrip2Buea. Now we are putting an option on the website. We're working on that right now on volunteers.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to be a volunteer, we're going to create a page for you, and you will direct all your traffic to that page. And all your donations would accumulate on that page. And at the end of the day, we are going to recognize you as a major a bundler or a fundraiser for the struggle. Now, go to the website. There is a number on the website that you can call if you want to be a volunteer. We are going to create a unique page for you, just like that website. It will be for you. All the individuals that you're going to direct to donate through that website, it would show at the end of the day how much you have raised for the struggle
Through
through your webpage, through your network. So that we are very ready and capable to do that. Now, for the people on ground zero, we take cognizance of the insecurity that is on the ground. But how do we get them to donate? This is where the volunteers they come in. A volunteer can confidentially share this information to their close networks, and they can put all of that money to that single volunteer. Anybody in Cameroon with a debit card, with a credit card, can go online and donate the money on the website on behalf of those volunteers. So within that page that you have created, we can blind out your image or your for your own security, but we know that this money is coming from these individuals. So this is very important message for the people on the ground. If you want to participate in this My Trip to Buea, we've had so many calls. How can they participate? But we are limited because of the available options on the ground. But we think that with people volunteering within their networks and creating a website, we can get the people on the ground to give this money to those their friends to donate directly through the website. And in doing so, we bypass the layer of insecurity that so far we are experiencing on the ground. And then you can Also, we are working with videos for the people who are not within the Southern Cameroon communities. A lot of them have demonstrated an interest to support the refugees. So we're coming with very short videos that really expose the squalid conditions that our people live within these communities. A lot of the information that our people have not heard concerning these refugee camps, some of us have been to those places. These are hard hit areas in Nigeria too. It's not like these areas were actually doing well before the influx of refugees. So these communities are also experiencing a lot of pressure because of this huge influx of people. I'll tell you, there's one of the places that they are currently calling Agbokam Karabot. That is saying that the entire city is mostly made of Karabot houses.
Wow.
There is no water, there is poor sanitation, and with the rainy season coming. So we have that information, and we are beginning to roll that out next week. So this will be targeted for those who are not within our communities. For those who are still within our communities, they're going to be having the fact that we're presenting to them that this is an existential threat. This is a generational opportunity that we cannot let go.
Right. Okay, so talking about videos, ladies and gentlemen, I want us to just take, I think it's 50 seconds, just to watch this short video that it's going to open a little bit